Welcome, esteemed gentlemen. The strongest man is he who stands most alone. Henrik Ibsen. Yet even the lone wolves, the enigmatic sigma males of society, have their own hidden fears. Silent specters, they battle behind the fortress of their stoic demeanor. They are the rebels of the social hierarchy, carving their paths outside traditional norms. But even the most independent minds are not without cracks. Here's a fact to consider. Psychologists estimate that 90% of fears are never openly discussed. They linger in the shadows, just like the Sigma male himself. So, what keeps these self-reliant, mysterious individuals awake at night? It's not what you'd think. It's not spiders, clowns, or losing Wi-Fi. Okay, maybe Wi-Fi. It's deeper, more complex, and often hidden even from themselves. Let's peel back the layers of their steely exterior and dive into 10 fears Sigma males face but won't dare admit. Buckle up. It's about to get raw, relatable, and unexpectedly revealing. Number 1. Being misunderstood on a profound level. Sigma males often carry an intricate, deeply reflective view of the world that sets them apart from others. They're not interested in shallow conversations or surface-level interactions. Their minds are constantly analyzing, questioning, and diving into layers most people never even notice. But this depth comes with a double-edged sword: the fear of being profoundly misunderstood. For a Sigma male, misunderstanding isn't just about someone getting their opinion wrong. It's the frustration of having their thoughts, intentions, or values misinterpreted on a fundamental level. They often think differently from the crowd, and while they don't seek validation, they do crave understanding. There's a silent fear that their true essence, their unique way of seeing the world, might never be fully appreciated or even recognized. This fear isn't born from arrogance or a need to prove themselves. It stems from the sheer loneliness of existing on a wavelength that few can match. They may be surrounded by people who hear their words but fail to grasp their meaning. They avoid explaining themselves over and over because they know the effort often feels futile. Yet the idea of always being the outsider, the one no one truly gets, can gnaw at them quietly. What makes it worse is that Sigma males rarely express this fear outright. Vulnerability is not something they wear on their sleeves. Instead, they withdraw further, guarding their inner world even more tightly. They'll let you see what they want you to see, but there's always a part of them wondering, does anyone really understand me? Or am I destined to navigate life alone with my thoughts? This fear of being misunderstood drives them to seek intellectual and emotional solitude, but it's not always a choice. It's a defense against the aching void of being misread. At number 2, losing mental sharpness. For Sigma males, their mind is their greatest weapon, their most trusted tool for navigating a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. They rely on their intellect, sharp reasoning, and ability to think several steps ahead. But beneath their calm and composed surface lies a deeply rooted fear: losing that mental sharpness. This isn't just about forgetting things or occasional lapses in focus. It's the terrifying thought of losing the edge that makes them who they are. For a Sigma male, their ability to think critically, analyze situations, and maintain control over their inner world is non-negotiable. The idea of mental stagnation, where their thoughts become dull or their creativity dries up, is unsettling. It's not only a loss of ability, but a loss of identity. Sigma males often pursue knowledge and self-growth obsessively, not just because they enjoy it, but because they see it as insurance against this fear. They strive to keep their minds agile, feeding on books, concepts, and challenges like fuel. But even as they grow and adapt, the thought lingers. What if I can't keep up? What if time, stress, or circumstances dull my mind? Unlike physical strength, which can be regained with effort, the fear of cognitive decline feels more permanent, more irreversible. They know life can throw curveballs, trauma, burnout, even aging. These aren't just hypothetical concerns, they're constant reminders that no one is invincible. And yet Sigma males rarely admit to this fear, even to themselves. Instead, they bury it under relentless self-discipline and intellectual rigor. But deep down, the possibility of losing the clarity and control they cherish is something that quietly haunts them. To them, a sharp mind isn't just a tool, It's survival. Number 3. Dying without leaving a mark. For Sigma males, life is about more than just existing. It's about creating something meaningful, something that lasts. While they might not chase fame or applause, they carry a deep, often unspoken desire to leave a mark on the world. It's not about recognition, but about knowing that their presence mattered, that their actions contributed to something greater than themselves. This quiet but profound ambition makes the fear of dying without leaving a legacy one of their deepest anxieties. Unlike others who might measure impact through wealth, titles, or public accolades, Sigma males define it on their own terms. It could be a groundbreaking idea, a meaningful relationship they nurtured, or simply the way they lived their life authentically and on their own terms. But the idea of leaving no trace, of fading into obscurity without having made a difference, feels like a betrayal of their potential. This fear is amplified by their introspective nature. Sigma males spend a lot of time thinking about life, purpose, and the bigger picture. They're acutely aware of how fleeting time is and how easy it can be to get caught up in the mundane. That awareness drives them to carve out their own path, but it also serves as a reminder that the clock is always ticking. What makes this fear unique is that they'll rarely admit it, even to themselves. Instead, it manifests as a constant push to improve, to grow, to do more. They're not loud about their ambitions, but they work quietly, determined to leave a lasting impression in their own way. To them, a life without impact isn't just unfulfilling, it's as though they were never truly here at all. At number 4, being forced into the spotlight. Sigma males have a natural aversion to the spotlight. While they are confident in their abilities and know their worth, the idea of being the center of attention feels deeply uncomfortable, almost suffocating. It's not because they doubt themselves. Rather, it's the shallow nature of most public attention that they find unbearable. For them, recognition isn't about applause or standing ovations. It's about substance. They'd rather be respected quietly for their contributions than paraded in front of a crowd for superficial validation. When they're forced into the spotlight, whether it's at work, in social situations, or even personal relationships, it feels like their privacy and autonomy are being invaded. It's as though they're being reduced to a performance, a spectacle for others to judge, rather than being valued for who they truly are. What makes this fear even more acute is the loss of control that comes with the spotlight. Sigma males thrive in environments where they can operate on their own terms, out of the reach of prying eyes or unnecessary scrutiny. But in the public eye, every move, every word feels magnified and ripe for criticism. The vulnerability of being exposed like that, of being misunderstood, misquoted, or misrepresented, rattles their carefully guarded sense of independence. And yet they'll never openly admit this fear. Instead, they'll find ways to avoid the limelight altogether, either by delegating attention to others or subtly shifting focus away from themselves. But deep down, the idea of being thrust into a situation where their actions are under a spotlight they never asked for is something they dread. For them, value doesn't need a stage. It's felt, not flaunted. Number 5, betrayal of trust. Sigma. Males guard their trust like a fortress, and for good reason. They understand the weight of betrayal, how it can dismantle the foundation of any relationship, whether it's personal or professional. For them, trust isn't something they give away freely. It's earned, slowly, and with care. That's why the fear of betrayal isn't just about the act itself. It's about the aftermath, the scar it leaves on their perception of people and connections. To a Sigma male, betrayal feels like an attack on their judgment. They pride themselves on being observant, on seeing through facades, on carefully choosing the few they let into their inner circle. When someone breaks that trust, it's not just painful. It's a disruption of their carefully calibrated world. They start questioning themselves. How did I not see this coming? Did I misjudge their intentions? It's not just about the betrayal. It's about the ripple effect it creates within their own mind. What makes betrayal even more cutting for a Sigma male is that they often avoid emotional dependence on others. So when they do trust someone, it's a rare and deliberate choice. The betrayal of that trust feels amplified because it confirms one of their deepest fears, that people, no matter how close, can't always be relied upon. And yet, Sigma males won't show the depth of this fear openly. They'll mask it with indifference, retreating into themselves, analyzing what went wrong. But inside, there's a quiet pain that lingers, reshaping how they approach relationships in the future. Betrayal doesn't just hurt them. It hardens them, reinforcing their belief that true loyalty is rare, and that trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. Number 6. Losing their inner peace. Sigma males thrive on inner peace. Their independence and ability to navigate life on their terms come from having a calm, steady core. They've built their lives around maintaining this equilibrium, so the fear of losing it isn't just unsettling, it's devastating. Unlike external chaos, which they can often handle with ease, internal discord feels like a storm they can't escape. This fear isn't about fleeting emotions like frustration or stress. It's deeper. It's the fear of being consumed by doubt, guilt, or inner conflict that disrupts their clarity and sense of self. Sigma males rely on their ability to think rationally, to make decisions with precision, and to trust their instincts. When that internal balance is shaken by a moral dilemma, a mistake they can't forgive themselves for, or unresolved emotions, it feels as if their entire foundation is crumbling. What makes this fear even more intense is that they rarely share their struggles with others. They're used to handling things alone, solving problems internally without relying on outside input. But when the source of the problem is within themselves, that independence can feel like a trap. Who do they turn to when their biggest battle is against their own mind? The loss of inner peace also threatens something Sigma males hold sacred: control. They take pride in their ability to steer their lives in the direction they choose. When they lose that sense of control over their thoughts or emotions, it can feel like free-falling into chaos. This fear drives them to guard their mental and emotional space fiercely. They avoid toxic people, unnecessary drama, and anything that might destabilize their inner world. Because to a Sigma male, losing their inner peace isn't just a bad day, it's losing the compass that guides everything they do. Number 7. Being controlled or manipulated. Sigma males value their independence above all else, so the idea of being controlled or manipulated is a deeply unsettling fear that shapes how they navigate life. To them, control is more than just physical or external. It's about autonomy over their thoughts, decisions, and direction. The very notion of someone else gaining leverage over them feels like a violation of their identity, a compromise of the freedom they've worked so hard to maintain. This fear runs deeper than simply avoiding pushy people or oppressive authority figures. It's the awareness that manipulation can come in subtle, insidious forms: emotional guilt, societal expectations, or even unspoken obligations. Relationships in particular can feel like a minefield. While Sigma males value connection, they are hyper-aware of how emotional ties can sometimes be used as tools for control. They avoid situations where they might feel trapped, whether it's in a job, a friendship, or a partnership, because to them, freedom isn't negotiable. Their cautious approach to life stems from this fear. They rarely rush into commitments or give anyone undue influence over their choices. They observe, analyze, and keep their guard up until they are certain they can trust someone. Even then, they maintain an escape route, a way to reclaim their independence if things start to feel constraining. What makes this fear even more potent is that it's tied to their strong sense of self-reliance. To a Sigma male, being controlled isn't just about external restriction. It's about losing the ability to chart their own course. They thrive in environments where they call the shots, and the idea of someone else pulling the strings behind the scenes is a silent, persistent fear that keeps them vigilant. For them, true peace lies in absolute autonomy. Number 8. Wasted potential. Sigma males are fully aware of their potential. They know what they're capable of, and more importantly, they know that their talents and abilities can take them places most people can only dream of. It's not arrogance. They simply understand the value of their own mind, skills, and vision. But this awareness comes with a weighty fear, the fear of wasted potential, the thought of not fully utilizing their gifts, of letting opportunities slip by due to external circumstances or their own hesitations can be deeply unsettling. For them, wasting potential isn't just about missing a single opportunity, it's the fear of living a life that doesn't match their capabilities. The idea of settling into mediocrity, of allowing the world to pass them by while they sit idly, haunts them in a way few fears do. They have this quiet internal pressure to constantly grow, to push the boundaries of what they can achieve, to make sure that every ounce of their potential is tapped into. When things don't align or when external forces hold them back, that fear grows louder, more consuming. This fear doesn't come from a need for approval or external validation. It comes from within. Sigma males want to prove to themselves that they can accomplish whatever they set their mind to. If they feel like they're not living up to their full potential, it can feel like a personal failure, like they've betrayed themselves in some way. What makes this fear even more intense is that Sigma males often resist traditional structures or limitations that others might accept. They want freedom, independence, and the space to fully express their abilities without being boxed in. When they feel stifled, whether by external expectations or personal doubts, the fear of wasted potential becomes a quiet, constant reminder that pushes them to never settle and to always strive for more. Number 9. Authenticity being weaponized against them. Sigma males hold authenticity as one of their most cherished values. They pride themselves on being true to themselves, unapologetically rejecting societal expectations and norms. But this very authenticity, the thing that sets them apart, is also what they fear will be used against them. The idea that their raw, honest nature could be weaponized by others to manipulate, control, or undermine them is a constant, silent fear. They know that in a world where vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, being open and real can sometimes be exploited. This fear is rooted in their understanding of power dynamics. They know that when they expose too much of themselves, whether it's their emotions, their thoughts, or their intentions, they become vulnerable. People can twist their openness, use it to judge them, to take advantage of their sincerity, or to push their buttons in ways they can't control. For a Sigma male, this is a terrifying thought. Authenticity should be a source of strength, not a liability. But in a world that often rewards masks and facades, their true selves can be a target for those looking to gain an advantage. This is why Sigma males are so guarded. They don't trust easily, and they tend to keep their deeper emotions and personal truths close to the chest. They'll share parts of themselves, but only with people they can truly trust. And even then, they maintain a level of distance. It's not that they're trying to hide who they are, it's that they fear others will see their authenticity as a weapon to be used against them, a weakness to exploit rather than a strength to respect. The fear of being manipulated through their own honesty makes them cautious, strategic even, about how much they reveal. They're hyper-aware that in a world that often doesn't value raw truth, their most authentic selves could be the very thing that leads to their downfall if it falls into the wrong hands. Number 10. Mediocrity. For a Sigma male, mediocrity is not just undesirable, it's a nightmare. The thought of living a life that doesn't challenge them, a life that doesn't force them to push their boundaries or question the status quo, is more terrifying than failure itself. Sigma males are wired to seek out new challenges, to operate outside the norm, and to pursue things that ignite their curiosity and ambition. The idea of blending into the background, of existing in a predictable, monotonous routine, feels like a slow death of their spirit. They can't stand the idea of simply going through the motions, ticking boxes, or living a life based on external expectations rather than their own desires. Mediocrity for them represents stagnation, the opposite of growth, learning, and progress. It's not just about achieving greatness, it's about feeling the fire of striving towards something, the constant push to elevate themselves and their circumstances. Without that drive, life would feel hollow and empty. This fear of mediocrity isn't about wanting fame or glory, it's deeper than that. Sigma males crave substance and purpose. They'd rather fail trying something extraordinary than succeed at something boring and predictable. The thought of waking up one day and realizing that they've become just another cog in the machine, quietly blending into the background like everyone else, is a fear that gnaws at them constantly. They know they're capable of more, and the idea of settling for less than their full potential terrifies them more than anything else. What makes this fear so potent is that it's self-inflicted. Sigma males hold themselves to high standards, constantly striving to avoid complacency. They live with a quiet urgency, knowing that mediocrity is something they must actively resist. They would rather be misunderstood or take risks than live a life that doesn't challenge them. To them, a life without challenge is a life wasted. Sigma males navigate life with an unwavering sense of independence, guided by a deep inner compass and a relentless pursuit of authenticity. Yet beneath their calm, self-sufficient exterior lies a complex web of fears that drive their every move, fears of being misunderstood, manipulated, or trapped in a life that doesn't challenge them. These fears are not born from weakness, but from a deep understanding of their own potential and the world around them. They fear losing their edge, being reduced to labels, or fading into mediocrity. They crave freedom, but with that freedom comes the constant battle to preserve their authenticity without letting it be weaponized against them. What sets Sigma males apart is their ability to reflect on these fears without letting them control their lives. They acknowledge the risks of their chosen path, the solitude, the emotional distance, but they refuse to let those fears define them. Instead, they channel them into their drive for self-improvement, their unrelenting pursuit of something meaningful. They understand that their fears are simply a reflection of their high standards for themselves and their desire to live a life that truly matters. Ultimately, Sigma males are not defined by their fears, but by their ability to overcome them. They know the world can be a harsh and unforgiving place, but they'll continue to walk their own path, guided by their unshakable authenticity and the quiet, burning desire to leave a lasting mark. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real, and in that raw truth lies their greatest strength. If you found this deep dive into the mind of a Sigma male intriguing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community for more thought-provoking content that goes beyond the surface and explores the complexities of life, individuality, and everything in between. Share this video with anyone who might appreciate these insights, and feel free to drop your thoughts or questions in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay authentic, stay sharp,